All right, we're recording the call. Okay. Again, well, welcome to November Staff Coffee with the GAMA team. My name is John Stacy. I am the Executive Director at GAMA. And I have with us today, I'm going to go round robin each of my team members to introduce themselves, starting with Chris.
Hi, everyone. Chris Materney, Deputy Director. Good to see everybody.
Melissa. You're muted, Melissa. You were doing so great too.
First I couldn't hear anything, and then I couldn't say anything. But yeah, I'm Melissa Jacobs, and I'm the Education Manager. Glad to see you all here today.
Thank you. And Kelly.
Hey everyone, I'm Kelly McNogna. I'm the Communications Manager. I started it's been almost 3 weeks now, so I'm very new, just a baby. But it's been a great 3 weeks. I've learned a lot and excited to get to know everyone virtually for a while and then in person eventually.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelly. And Paul.
Hello, everyone. I'm Paul McGraw. I'm the Events Manager. I've been with the company for many years, so most of you probably know me already.
That's right. Paul is our pinch hitter and everything, and our voice of history here. And so I want to again start off by thanking Bongo Java Roasting Company and for their generous offer of the Game Point Cafe for sending us coffee. For those in the staff who are drinking the coffee, hope you're enjoying it. Unfortunately, I don't drink coffee, but I hear those who enjoy it are really liking it, which is phenomenal. And I heard some begging earlier for bagels, but you know, that's okay too. Keep that in mind for next month. Actually, next month's December, so we probably should have Christmas cookies, I think, or some kind of holiday cookies or something, I think. So that'd be kind of fun. All right, so we'll hop right into it then. I want to start off today with Melissa sharing a little bit about an upcoming webinar we've got this month.
Our upcoming webinar is actually November the 13th from 11:30 to 12:30. It's going to be set for an hour. And it's presented by Letitia Williams. She's the co-founder of Cards for All People. Letitia, she's going to show you how to cut through the clutter and speak directly to your customers, obtain the keys to successful strategic marketing, and get on the road to traction. Registrations are coming in. We're about 10 now, and they've just been coming in every day. So we're looking forward to a good turnout for that. So if that's something you're interested in, please go ahead and review your newsletter. There is a link there. Results from the webinar we had back in September, also presented by Cards for All Black People. I'm sorry, Black Cards for All People by Jay Bobo. And it was a marketing journey type of webinar. And folks wanted to have a deeper dive into that. So that's why we bring Letitia in, because that's her specialty. And so we're looking forward to that. We had 37 registrations for that first session. So we should get a good turnout for this one.
And Melissa, both those will be available on demand on our platform, correct?
Absolutely. And that link will be in our newsletter as well.
Great. Thanks a lot, Melissa.
Surely.
I want to share a couple of things. And so we're going to go into chronologically through the month of November and then December and then getting into 21 in a little bit here. But we are coming up with a new, this has been a year of innovations because of what we've been forced to with COVID and having to change how we do operations and businesses. And so we've been trying to find ways to support the various membership tiers. As you may recall, earlier this year, we had the retail support package we were doing in March and April, where we were doing a lot of things trying to help support the retailers. We had the free local game store locator. We did the Essentials virtual event last month, which was really great. We had over 155 retailers from 8 different countries around the world, which was phenomenal, with 23 publishers participating in that. A new idea that we've come up with is we're going to create a Black Friday board games deal, like shopping network, if you will, home shopping network for board games, working with some publishers to create a virtual event for Black Friday, which is November 27th. We're using the same virtual platform that San Diego Comic-Con, Dragon Con, and MomoCon Anime Convention used this year for their virtual events, which will feature streaming videos, sales pages, and a unified shopping cart who can buy products directly from publishers on that. 100% of the participation fee for this will go into a marketing fund to drive traffic to the virtual event, and GAMA is paying for the software platform, the license to use that. It's kind of a pilot project to see how that works. We're working information now. It'll be out by into the day today to all the publisher members to get an idea how it works, how it's structured, and give them a feel for it. Obviously, it's a little over 3 weeks away. It's a pretty tight timeline. So we're going to limit the number of publishers involved, the ones who commit to meeting the deadlines that we've set forward for this. Again, this is a pilot project to see how it goes. And we're interested to see this new opportunity to support publishers through GAMA. And there'll be time at the end of things, because we're going to go through a bunch of things here, and we'll have some time for Q&A at the end of the program today, so you can hopefully save your questions all at one time, and we'll answer them then. One thing we're very proud of is we've had a very active cadre of volunteers this year stepping up, being involved in the committees for GAMA. And so we thought it'd be really nice to use this opportunity today to share a little bit of what these committees are working on, and decide like who's on the committees and a little bit about it. So each of the committees has a designated staff liaison. And so I want to invite each of them to share what's going on with their committee. So we'll start out with the audit committee with Chris.
Sure, John, thanks. So the audit committee is basically responsible for financial accountability and then also internal oversight in the office. We did have a formal audit last year, what was conducted last year for 2018. So we are not looking at a full-blown audit for 2-3 more years. However, this committee meets regularly and is providing the oversight that we need. They're also charged with making sure that all of our financial policies and procedures are in place and being followed.
And our the board vice president, Chris Spivey, is the chairperson of that committee. Thank you, Chris. The next committee we have is the bylaws committee, and that is chaired by Brian Dalrymple, who is the former secretary of the board, and I'm the staff liaison for that. The bylaws committee is charged with contemplating and reviewing and proposing changes and amendments to our governing documents. And so they're working on a number of proposals now. They actually have been working for the last year on a series of amendments and changes to the bylaws at the advice of our attorney to make sure that we were being compliant with the latest association management laws. And so we have a number of proposals coming for that over the next few months. But a big initiative they've been working on for the last few months is around our membership structure. And we announced last month that the board is putting forward a proposal to change how we recognize the membership categories, to expand that to add more seats to the table, if you will. So we're actually a representative of the entire hobby games industry. And that bylaws committee, which has had several meetings since the board charged them to look at this. We actually have a meeting this afternoon at 3 o'clock. And we're in the process of drafting proposed bylaw amendments with the goal of having a set of proposals ready for the board of directors to look at the December board meeting. They will review that, and then we'll put it out to the full membership for comment and feedback. And so this is a very deliberative process. We've been rightly said that we move slow sometimes, but there's a very process we have to follow by our bylaws. And so we're hoping by some of the changes that this committee is putting forward, we can speed up that process to be more nimble and more reflective of the times and the industry we're trying to represent as an association. So we're very excited about the work that Brian and the team is working on, and hope to have an update next month for you with some draft language. Second is the Code of Conduct Committee. Andrew Chesney, one of our directors at large, is chairperson of this committee, and I'm also the staff liaison for this committee. Earlier this year, the board set out to create a code of conduct for the association. We have a draft code ready, but it was kind of made clear to us that you had to have a code of conduct, but how do you enforce it? So we created a code of conduct committee at our September board meeting with Andrew chairing it, and they're now working through the process of how people who violate the code are reported, what that process looks like, how do we adjudicate that, what are their consequences for violations of the code of conduct. And once that is completed, hopefully by the December meeting as well, we'll share that with the full committee, the full membership for a support and ratification of the code of conduct, hopefully for 2021. This has been a year-long project the board's been working on, and so very excited to see it coming to conclusion. Next up, we have the diversity committee, and Nicole Lindros, another director at large on the board, is the chairperson of that committee, and Melissa Jacobs is the staff liaison. Melissa? You're muted again.
Okay, sorry. The purpose of the committee is to investigate how best to reach out to underrepresented communities within the game industry and to create a pathway of success within the organization. Nicole and I had an opportunity last week to have a chat on how we could start moving the committee forward, how we can have some ideas of bringing more members onto the committee. We currently have CETO as one of the members, and we have 4 interested parties as well that we'll be reaching out to. So we're looking forward to, in the first quarter of 2021, to really start getting the balls rolling for that committee, and just to use it as a think tank to begin with, to see exactly what are we looking for, what communities need to be addressed, how can we provide a service to them, and just to get their ideas on what's going on where they live, where they work, where their story is. So that's what Nicole and I talked about, and I'm glad to see you on here, Nicole. Hi. Okay, so that's that one. And the next committee is the Education Advisory Committee. I'm also the liaison for that. Our chair for the committee is Daniel Zayas. And we are charged to work with GAMA. The committee is to work with GAMA to identify educational topics and opportunities to create a robust training program to assist retail stores, distributors, manufacturers, designers in effectively operating in the hobby games industry. The demographic of this committee includes publishers, publisher manufacturers, educators, retailers, designers, and independent service providers. So by having all of those tiers, if you will, being active on the committee, it allows us to make sure that we can provide education for each one of those types of businesses. We actually have a new member that's going to be joining us on our committee, which is scheduled for November the 13th this month. And that's James Pigeonfelder. He is on the line today. So James, we welcome you to our coffee today, and we look forward to your participation in the committee. And that's all I have for that, John.
Great. Well, so thank you very much. Membership committee, Chris?
Sure. So Brian Dalrymple is the chair of that committee. Sorry for the mispronunciation of his last name. I'm the staff liaison. This is a lean and mean committee. It includes 3 individuals from the membership. Brian is a representative from the retail side. Cito Sanchez is a representative from the distributor side. And Will Niebling is the representative from the publisher side. This committee is basically charged with approving publisher manufacturer members. So when somebody applies, they are the ones that review the company, make sure that they've got distribution, they've got product in the pipeline, so on and so forth. So that's their primary charge. So we are looking next year into possibly a second so-called membership committee that would look a little bit more at the benefits side of GAMA. So that's that committee.
Thanks, Chris. And so she said we're looking at creating a member services committee for next year to figure out how we can expand the products and services we offer to our members to be of more service to them. And so if you're interested in being involved in that effort in 21, feel free to reach out to Chris. She'll be the liaison on that committee as well. Just know that yet, but she's going to be the liaison to that committee.
I assumed.
You assumed. And so we appreciate your input and your participation in that effort as well. And then the other committee that we have that's been active, very active lately, is the Market Expansion Committee. And Kelly is the staff liaison for that committee.
Yeah, so last week I sat in on my first committee call for that, so I'm still kind of getting up to speed on a few things. But Bree Goldman is the chair, and shout out to Bree. She's been super helpful with kind of onboarding me, and her and Jeff Pinsker both kind of getting me up to speed on everything. But a few things I know that the committee is actively working on right now: recruiting new members to join the committee. On the call last week, we asked each of the current members to kind of think through their network, and if they know of anyone that would be a good fit, reach out and let us know. So currently working on that. They're also in the process of something exciting, curating industry subject matter experts for a speakers bureau of sorts. So these are folks that would speak confidently to media and whatnot, and speak on behalf of GAMA really in the tabletop gaming industry as a whole. So I'm kind of working, I picked up where my predecessor left off off a bit on the media aspect of that, but that's something really exciting that's in the works now that we're actively working on. And then the Game on Every Table program that's still ongoing. The pilot program has been a success for sure, with the limited time that we had really to put it together, but we'll learn a lot for next year, and we hope to scale a lot larger next year. So we'll take what we've learned this year to build the program out earlier for next year. So those are the main things that the committee's been working on.
Great. Thanks, Kelly. Appreciate that. So as Kelly had mentioned, the Game on Every Table program, that is a holiday promotional program that GAMA has been working with members of the committee to create, mostly at the efforts of Pat Fugue, who's been like the quarterback for the program, who brought it to us earlier this fall to kind of work on it. And so we have close to 24 publishers who are participating in this program. And what it basically, those of you who aren't aware of it, it's a program where we're basically doing a game drive to support the local Toys for Tots program across the country. And so customers under this program can buy one game and donate the second copy of the same title. They can buy it at 50% off and then donate to Toys for Tots. And so that second game immediately goes into a box that's hopefully at each store to make this happen. And so if you're interested in being part of this program, there's still time as a retailer if you are to join. We have a dedicated website page to this on our website. It's gamma.org/a game on every table. An acronym, you have to spell the whole thing out, of course. But there's a guide on there. There's a marketing plan. There's some collateral you can use to create flyers and marketing your store. We have some social media collateral on there. And this was a really good program that got put together by the committee and by our staff here. And so if you would like to be part of that, we do encourage that. We think it could be a very exciting opportunity to grow that and to grow our ability to support this kind of program throughout the country next year as we grow it and learn, as Kelly said, ways to fine tune it and be more effective in getting the message out. We have a longer window lead time for it. Another program we have coming up, obviously, is membership renewals. And so Chris would like to talk a little about that.
Oh, membership renewal. Thanks, John. So membership renewals have been emailed to everyone, and I want to thank the membership in advance for their continued support. As John mentioned, we are trying to be as innovative and as possible to cover all tiers of membership or to benefit all tiers of membership, given our tools and resources and budget. So we certainly do appreciate everyone's support. If you haven't received an email from me, just go ahead and please reach out in any way, shape, or form. My email address is chris.materney@gamma.org, or you can call me at the office, 614-255-4500. And you can speak to anybody. Anyone here can help you. Renewals also it's a perfect opportunity for everyone to go into our membership database, make sure your records are current, take a look at the people that you have from your company that are included in the database. We do not have a limit on that. We, in fact, welcome as many people from your business as possible, and those, of course, that would benefit from access to all of GAMA's information. So please feel free to reach out to any one of us. Our database is just about a year old. We know that it had a steep learning curve. We're still learning ourselves. So if you want a one-on-one refresher, please feel free to reach out to us. As far as the membership database goes, we're excited that we're working on a new membership directory that will be released early next year. We do currently have a directory on our website, but this will be more comprehensive and will include some of your notable products, also all of your contact information, your logo, your offerings in the store if you are a retailer, so on and so forth. So we are working on that. So another reason to go in and get your information updated so that we can keep that info current. And it will be printable. It will also be available on our website. And then on that note, talking about the membership database, John, next slide, please. So we did mention on Tuesday that our software vendor, Community Brands, has been experiencing quite a few interruptions over the past couple of weeks. So we apologize for that. Timing is everything with renewal invoices going out and people trying to get in there and pay for those. And I know it's very frustrating. We don't mean to make renewals so hard, trust me. So we are working with them on that, and they hope to resolve it. So if you have any problem whatsoever, if you haven't received the notice, if you can't get into the invoice link, if you can't get in and see the dollars, just please call me or reach out, and I'd be happy to send you a separate link. But please bear with us, be as patient as we're trying to be while they work through this. And we'll send a note to everyone once they have assured us that everything has been corrected. So that's what I have. And again, membership database is important. Please feel free to reach out. The staff is a great resource, and any one of us here can help you.
Great, thanks, Chris. And I wanted to kind of put a highlight on the membership directory that Chris has been working on. One of the things we hear from our members is they want to be able to connect with each other, network, and we're hoping that by creating this new document, it'll provide those confirmations you need to find, if I'm trying to find person A, company X, that can go in our database and find that for them and make it easier for you. So we want to be that connector between our members. So we're very excited about this project. Thank you. The next thing we're talking about, I know a lot of you were asking about what's happening with Expo for next year. And so this was, we put that as the teaser in the newsletter we put out on Tuesday. People decided, which it seems it worked, people showed up today. And so just to be, obviously, as I'm sure everyone, there's no surprise that we will not have a physical show in Reno in March. It's just unlikely and unnecessary to put our members at any kind of risks to come together in a large mass gathering, even though we'll be at that point be 1 year into this pandemic. But we're nowhere near close to where we need to be to have an in-person event of that scale inside. And so we have worked with the Peppermill. And so the plan is we're going to basically do a push, because they're a casino, we can say that, right? We're going to do a push from the 21 show to 22 in Reno. And then we're going to do a virtual event in March of next year. And so what we're doing is we want to think about, since it is virtual, and I think everybody here can have their opinions on how virtual shows have worked this year. And I think a lot of us can agree that's been some real problems with the learning curve of figuring out how to work virtual shows. And so we decided to do something a little different next year, where we're going to have 4 days of content like we would have in Reno. But so we're going to break it up with a couple days of a virtual expo and game nights on Tuesday, March 16th and March 23rd. And then on Wednesday, we're going to have a full day of professional development day with several tracks of education for retailers, for publishers, designers. And we're going to be doing an e-commerce track just for those people who are trying to survive in this online environment. And so we had a really good brainstorming session earlier this week with some of our members coming up with topics for these professional development day. And the staff's very excited about this new format for next year. But the new thing we're also adding in, as you'll look here on the last thing, is the Friendly Local Game Store Day. We've been trying for a couple of years now to figure out how we can drive traffic into the stores to help support them. And so when the tabletop day not really being around anymore, we wanted to have a GAMA member focused one. And so the GOD has been working really heavily on trying to come up with a program for this for next March. And so the goal is to use the events leading up to that to kind of build excitement, momentum, partnerships between retailers and publishers. And so we're going to have some more information coming out in December about the first two items, the expo and the professional development day. And then probably in early January, we'll have information about the Friendly Local Game Store Day on how you can get involved in that, help drive some traffic. And so the first, like, a free, local regular store day, or free comic book day, or free RPG day, all these different days are out there. And the whole goal is to kind of drive traffic and sales to the stores. And so we're open to join that as well and support retailers and publishers that way. So again, we'll have some time in a few minutes to answer questions about this, but we're still early days. We want to give you guys as much notice as possible on this. We just signed the contract last week with Peppermill. And so that was official. We didn't want to make any announcements because of the whole force majeure contracts and all that stuff. We don't want to make anything preliminary and get ourselves any kind of legal bind. But we think this is now a good time to make this announcement. And we hope that you will agree that this is the best way to go forward given the situation we have with the pandemic. So we're very excited.
John, if I can just add, for those that have already given us their intention to exhibit for Expo for next year, we will certainly be in touch just as soon as we have a lot of these details ironed out, as John said. But we are mindful that we have that information.
Great. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that.
Sure.
All right. And so when we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago with members, actually at the last coffee a month ago, people were asking, and we've got a lot of calls since then, what about if you pushed it to later in the year, or how would that work with the other shows? And really that's hard to do given the other things we're doing with Origins and the other shows like Toy Fair and Astra and all the issues. It's really hard for us to move the GAMA Expo to later in the year. which is why we're going with this virtual program. However, it might be a good idea to do something else. And so we're trying to create a new outdoor B2B event in late May. This is some feedback we got members that it might be safer to do an outside event on a limited, smaller scale, provide an opportunity for members to connect, to network, to demo games, to do some presentations outside, to actually write orders, to network, to break bread together, all these good things that we do at these in-person shows. And so we're looking at doing an outdoor event, and we're kind of jokingly called the GAMA Summer Picnic. We don't know, that's not the final name, that's kind of the internal joking name, but it will be late May schedule. It'll be probably a 2-day event. It'll be feature outdoor tents in an urban park in a metropolitan area. And so, but the key is that we will only move forward if it's actually safe to have an in-person event. Our safety of our staff, of our members, and of our people we work with is utmost for us. And so if we get to in first quarter of next year, and it's obvious that an in-person event's not going to work for May, we're not going to hold it. But the goal is to kind of give people a notice that this is something that we're working on. We'll have information going out early December to our members about this and to kind of gauge the interest in an activity like this. And but we're very excited. This might be a new way to provide an opportunity for people to network in social distancing with temperature checks. And I've been on a work group with Gen Con, UK Games Expo, Luca Games and Comics, and a couple other the larger gaming conventions. And we've been talking about this whole thing is about safety and get people that together again in person. And so we've been talking about best practices. And as a trade association, we belong to a number of associations who are also looking at these issues. And so through ASAE, which is the Association for Everything, right? It's the American Society of Association Executives. I've done a number of trainings with them around safely reopening and getting back into business for our in-person shows. And so we're very mindful that it's a huge lift. And until there's a vaccine or there's some better thing, it's going to be tough. But we're going to be mindful of that, and we're going to do our best to serve our members, opportunities for them to network and work with each other. So this is an idea we put out and we're working on, and hopefully mention early December about this. And so this gets us to our Q&A section and thank you section. Before I do that, does the staff anything else they want to share or they want to talk to members about before we move into the Q&A part of the program?
I do not, John, other than to say we're excited to start some of these new projects that will hopefully replace some of the excitement we lost earlier this year.
Great, thank you. All right, so I'd like to open it up to questions. Everybody here. Please raise your hand, or you can do, there's that little thing. I see Andy has his hand up.
Yeah.
Hi, Andy.
Hey, John, how are you doing?
I'm well.
So just thank you. One quick question. Well, actually, I had two. I'm trying to remember the other one. But this, just based on what you said about this summer picnic, as you're calling it, are we going to do anything? Is this going to be something that is going to be sort of launched, or are we going to check with the membership to see if enough people from both sides of the table, publishers and retailers, are expected to attend? Because I mean, safety is issue one, but making sure that the retailers want to attend is also a showstopper if they don't.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely it's the latter. It's funny because you're the person who brought this up to my attention last month when you asked about moving it to later in the year, and that got me thinking and talking to the members and all that. But yeah, we're going to be sending out a survey that all the members asked the thing. Here's the things we're looking for 21, talking about here's how we think about Origins, the Expo, here's what about for this thing, and get their feedback on it. And I think we don't want to move forward if the membership are going to follow us. There's no point in doing that, as you're pointing out correctly.
By the way, separately, not that critical, does this change do anything to our upcoming contract for the regular indoor show going forward? I
mean, we're making a point not to call it Expo. I don't know if we put
down money on that or whatever.
Well, we have money down at the Peppermill for sure, and that's why they agreed to a 1-year extension of our current contract, which expires in 21.
Oh,
and so
I was not aware of that part. Sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. I mentioned it earlier in the presentation. But they basically said
I got in a few minutes late, but okay, sorry.
No worries. But they made it clear that they're mindful that it's difficult to hold a show in March. They don't even have the restaurant service open in the hotel right now, and so there's no food services. And so we're 4 months out, and they're like, we don't know we can actually serve you in 4 months. And then with the current restrictions, I think it's limited to 1,000 people, but only 250 people per room. And so we couldn't even use the exhibit hall as it's currently configured, and so it just doesn't work. And it's not safe either. And so that's the big thing. And so they agreed that if we move our show to 22, that we'll do a buy on 21 and not worry about it. And we're going to do this other event. We're not calling it the GAMA Expo because it's not the expo. We don't want to, people think they're going to show up at this event and that's the experience they're going to get, because it's not the experience they're going to get, obviously. The expo is a unique purpose it fills for our industry. And I don't want people think that they're showing up for one thing and getting something else. That's not the goal here. This is the case, something new if it works. I think you're right. We need to survey the members and ask them and make sure that's something they want to do. And I think we're definitely doing that early December. That answer your question?
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome, great. What else do we have here today? Let's ask a question.
This is Leah Cullitson at HAPA.
Hi, Leah. How are you today?
Hi, good. I was just wondering, you mentioned earlier that you wanted to work with Astra and everything. So as far as I know, Astra is still having their show in June. So is GAMA doing anything to encourage store members that might cross over to be attending that show, or how are you supporting that Astra show?
Actually, that's a great question. I reached out to Sue Warfield actually this morning. We've been talking about how we can collaborate and share resources and work together as associations to support each other. And so we're trying to coordinate a call now for next week to kind of start talking that out. Like, how can we support you with your show in Minneapolis, and how you can support our show and all that. So yeah, we're definitely working on those collaborations. You know, we had a call last week I did with the Nuremberg Toy Fair with their local representative here in the States. And she and I were talking about how we can promote their show, because they moved it to the summer now. It's now in July, I think.
Right.
So, you know, they're actually going to do a presentation at our event to support their show. And so the virtual show in March. And so I think we're looking at all these associations, how we can support each other through these tough times.
Yeah, I'm on the board of directors for the ABC, which is the All Baby and Child show. And, you know, so I talked to Amy Saldana, the chairman of the Astra right now. And I mentioned GAMA to her yesterday, and she was going to talk to Sue. So I'm sure it's all going full circle now. I think it's great. I think there's so many, you know, we need to stick together and see what we can do to support each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, thank you. And I thought Tiffany had a question in the chat. Is something you wanted to talk about specifically, Tiffany, or question you had?
Sorry, I had to switch to the right window to unmute.
No worries.
Yeah, so the GAMA vote that was sent out just before Spiel, which is painful timing.
I know.
My brain was very occupied with Spiel, and then it was very occupied with US elections voting. So now that that's over, I was wondering if you could touch briefly on what the membership vote that is up, that you sent an email, I think today, and said that there was like 22% of people actually have only voted for it. So,
correct.
Or like have voted at all. So if you could provide more info on that real quick.
Sure. So as Tiffany mentioned, we sent out about 2 weeks ago a ballot to our publisher members, asking them if they would approve a change to our vision statement. Currently, it is a game on every table, a table for every gamer. And there's been concern that may not be inclusive enough. And so that not everyone identifies as a gamer. And so the suggestion was to change it to a table for everyone. And so we sent that out. We actually created a thread on the Facebook page for a conversation about that. And there was some limited conversation about that. But as Tiffany pointed out, I sent an email yesterday in the newsletter, and we said only 22% of publishers have voted on that yet. And our bylaws require that if there's a 2/3 affirmative vote to change the bylaws. And so we're nowhere near that, obviously. And so there's another reminder going out this week. The ballot does run for 30 days, which is the 18th of this month, which is a little over 2 weeks from now. And so we'll see what happens with that. The board and I had a call last Thursday about this, because this is part of a larger conversation we're having around the other amendments we're working on, how we're engaging our members and how we're getting them interested in input on how we make changes to our membership structure and other things in the bylaws. And so we've been definitely having some good conversations about that, how to move forward with that. So that's kind of where we are on that. Did that answer your question, Tiffany? Awesome, great. And I think, you know, I had a couple of our publishers email us and ask us, they wanted an opportunity to discuss this more. And I encouraged them to come on the call today. And then I also encouraged them to go on to Facebook and make comments in that section as well. So hopefully they take advantage of that.
Yeah, the Facebook The Facebook's just really hard because the algorithm on Facebook will make things hide. So like to click and search things directly is very difficult for any official conversations. I really wish we had a different platform than Facebook for these kind of discussions, because it's Facebook will literally not show it to me. I need a direct link to it to access it.
Yeah. Would it be helpful if maybe we did the conversation on our Discord server that we've set up? Because we were using that for essentials and we've used it for a couple other things. And it's open to all members. We could create a conversation thread on there for sure.
Discord would be better, especially right now as everyone's moving to Discord. Discord would be better, but I almost wonder if it would make sense to, I know they're older, but like a forum site or something where there's not it scrolls away and there's no algorithm driving things in front of people or away from people. So where just the information is presented, people can put long form posts similar to what they would do on Facebook. However, it's not controlled by an algorithm on whether or not it's visible. Would be nice.
Yeah. Well, no, we've had some conversations about creating, there's the software, it's called Discourse. I know a couple of the publishers use that to do their own basic bulletin boards or forums for their products. And so we've been exploring maybe creating a GAMA Discourse forum for this kind of conversations. As you said, that way we're not beholden to a technical evil overlords who says what you can and can't see on your social media stream. So we are looking at that as a potential option for 21 as well. But I think that's a good point. I'll make a note of that to bring that up to the team on that, chat about some more. Cool. Cool. I think Uwe had his hand up as well. Did you have a question you wanted to ask? Okay. While we're waiting, anybody else have a question they want to ask?
Hi.
There he is. Welcome.
On the potential May outdoor event,
Yes.
are you already looking at specific locations?
We're looking at a couple, but we haven't signed any contracts yet, and we haven't finalized anything yet.
Okay.
I think
So
part of
no,
the conversation we send out in December asking about it, we'll ask that question as well.
Okay.
You have a suggestion for us? You want us to come out to Berkeley?
I mean, that would be convenient for me, but there's no place big enough except for the university. And they're not even Berkeley.
Yeah, cool. All right, so yeah, so we're hoping to have some information on that in December too, once we finalize a couple locations and nail that down. So yeah, a lot of it has to do with what the local ordinances are on spaces and what the costs are for tent rentals and all that kind of stuff too. So there's a lot of details we're working through right now. Awesome. Okay. Just want to make sure to do it around. Give us a chance to ask a question before we wrap it up today.
You mentioned a Discord. How do I get to the Discord?
Send you an invitation for it, Tiffany.
Okay, thank you.
And we'll do that for sure. Cool.
Hey,
Bree
John.
is asking for, excuse me, Bree is asking for a Discord invite as well.
Okay. Can do that. Someone else had a question they were coming in?
Hey, John, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Oh, great. It took me a while how to figure out how to get my mic working on Zoom. Too many other programs we're using nowadays. We've talked a lot about the different types of things that GAMA's concentrating on. We as a publisher, and what I've talked with my publishers, CO groups, which is a lot of the publishers, well-known ones, we kind of get together and talk about things and help each other out. And one of the things that's hitting us greatly are our costs to keep all of our employees going. Shipping has just gone crazy, sky high, worldwide for fulfillment, different costs, et cetera, et cetera. And I've asked before, is GAMA doing anything to help both the stores, the publishers, et cetera, to try to keep the costs down with any type of group discounts, deals, if it's for insurance, if it would be for shipping, for anything like that. I've been asking for this for several years, and it's one of the few group organizations that really hasn't pushed forward in that respect. They're more in the let's have a show and have meetings and give discussions on how to run your publishing business better now, stores better. So is GAMA doing anything to help us keep our costs down or get deals as group deals so that a lot of us can survive and make more money going forward?
We do actually. We do have, and I'm trying to, on our website, we have a list of business services that are discounts that you're talking about, whether it's group buying. I'm going to share my screen on here for you. We do have some of them, and I'm just getting that back up here. Just one second. All right. So if you go into the GAMA website when it's working, so luckily it's working right now, it's the gamma.org / it's called business services under resources here. And so we have a list of here of different products and services that we've worked at, like whether it's credit cards, payment services, financial services. We do have group healthing. We have discounts to UPS. We have shipping discounts to YRC Freight. We have background check screening things. We do have a group health insurance plan, which we implemented a year ago in December.
Oh, okay.
And I will admit these aren't the best health rates, but because the way it works, it creates a risk pool. And since we put a survey out to our members last December, we had a very small group of people who wanted to be part of that. And so we're hoping this December they'll reevaluate the rates as we've got more people come in that program. And so we do offer health insurance benefits for our members. And so we're actually looking for other things to put on here. I think we were in the process of talking about Staples and a couple other companies,
Yes.
office supplies and those sort of things. So if there's certain product services you're interested, other than the shipping you mentioned, healthcare, let us know. And we'll definitely reach out to those things, try to put those out, because that's a great thing that as a trade association we can do is group buying. So definitely, good question.
Well, and that's a biggie. And I was not aware that the insurance had gone through. I'd heard that it was in process, and I didn't know that you had the UPS freight either.
Yeah. I'll send you a link now to this page directly for you, so you'll have it.
Yeah, I'll find it. I've got the screenshot here.
Okay.
I appreciate that's what I needed to know. Thank you.
Awesome. Glad we can help you. But again, if anybody has any ideas of other services you want for that, we're here to be helpful. That's been my goal from day one, to be supportive of the industry and how we can make your lives easier and save you money and make that membership value worth it for you. So, because we're not just shows, as you pointed out, we're a trade association and we have an obligation to support the industry and our members. And my team's all about that. So, great, you think for asking that question.
And we did earlier mention that we're looking at a member services possibly committee for next year. So if any of you would like to join that, this is a great opportunity to reach out and talk about the benefits.
Awesome. In the last few minutes we have, anyone have any questions they want to ask, they want to talk about?
And I wanted to mention something too earlier about the Facebook group, and if we end up moving away from that, then this might be irrelevant. But I know for a lot of my Facebook groups, you can customize how things show up in your feed, how often. You can set notifications too, just depending on the group that you're in. Sometimes that can get really annoying. But I think GAMA's, we don't have hundreds of posts a day. So if you're on Facebook frequently and you really value those discussions, I would just try double checking to make sure that your settings for that specific group aren't hidden, because sometimes they're hidden inadvertently and you won't see anything. But I do agree the algorithm on most social medias is terrible and it changes every day. So, but just a tip to check, because that's happened to me before. So
That's a good point. Okay. All right, well, then I'll go ahead and wrap up today. I want to thank you all for being part of our second coffee. This went really well, and I appreciated the feedback and the questions. And so we have our next one set up here for the first Wednesday of December, and hope to see you there. And we'll have bagels and coffee again. So hope everybody has a great day, and take care, and we'll talk soon. Thank you very much. Take care now.
Thanks,
Thank you
everyone.
all.